continue collecting, and remember, stay casual. Welcome back, casual collectors. I'm Steel Wolf
and Spider Kid,
and today we're bringing you a review of the Silver Surfer that was included in the Haslab Galactus.
So if you're thinking about picking this guy up, remember he was a limited time release, but you can try your luck on eBay, OfferUp, Facebook Marketplace, or your local collector spot.
And as you can see up on the screen right now, we're showing you the box of what it looked like when it came packaged. But since we already covered that in our Galactus review, we're going to just jump right into the figure itself. So before we get to the figure, let's go ahead and get a closer look at all the accessories that Silver Surfer comes with. Alright, and here we have all the accessories that come with Silver Surfer. Now let's go ahead and start right away with the board here. And right away, it's a very simple design. There's nothing fancy about this. Even the sculpting, you got these lines in the middle. We get one peg, and then in the back of it, there's not much detail back here. So that's kind of disappointing. But it does look pretty neat right up here in the front there. And as you can see, it does have a little bit of that metallic sheen to it. So that's pretty neat. Now the problem with this though is going to be this one peg, and in some of the cooler dynamic poses that we see Silver Surfer do in the comics, you're not going to really be able to pull that off with just this one peg hole. It almost feels like they should have had multiple peg holes here, but then again, if they did that, that would have made the board look a little bit more or less presentable. So how they could have figured this one out, maybe magnets, but I don't think Marvel Legends will ever do magnets. But yeah, so just be careful with this one peg. It's going to make the stability of the character not as reliable as it should be. Especially like for one pose I can think of right off the bat is there's one where the board's kind of tilted, forward like this, and Silver Surfer is literally on the front. Sometimes he's on the back, and you're not going to be able to pull that off with just one peg. Next, we have the effect that comes with Silver Surfer, and we've seen this guy before. This is nothing new. I believe Adam Warlock came with these. The old Silver Surfer came with these. I think Polaris did as well. There's been a couple of characters that have come with this.
And it does kind of suck because we've been getting a lot of those, and it's been feel like they're going just lazy with this now.
Yeah, give us some new effects or something, give us something new. But if you like these effects, then hey, you got yourself another one. Unfortunately, they only give you one. They don't give you two. There is definitely different purples here. You got more of a darker purple for these little orbs right here, these little black orbs. And then more of that translucent purple for the rings on the outside there.
Don't get me wrong, they look pretty cool.
Yeah, it looks great. It's just I wish they would have gave us something different. Moving on to the most exciting piece that comes with Silver Surfer, and that is the stand for his board. And I gotta say, it's about damn time they gave us this thing, man. You would have thought they would have gave us something like this when they first released Silver Surfer. How else are you going to pose the guy on his board and make it look cool, without a stand like this? And I believe there's a guy who makes his own kind of custom stands, and I believe he goes by the name of Can of Beams. And he makes a pretty cool alternative too, which is actually compatible with a lot of the SH figure art stands. And his way of displaying the board using his stand is absolutely amazing as well. So in case you can't get your hands on this Galactus just to get this piece, definitely check out Can of Beans, because his stuff for the board is absolutely amazing. Well, let's take a closer look at this guy. So right away, we can see on the top here, we have what looks kind of like arrows or kind of like waves that face forward there in a forward motion, and I believe they put those there just to kind of indicate which way you're going to put the board in place. And then as you can see on the side here, it looks like little waves that splash upwards, almost like he's actually literally surfing on some kind of a liquid surface. Now here we can see grooves on both the left and the right, and that's where we believe the board is just going to slide into place there, and that should hold the board up. Now, as you can see on the bottom, we have a lot of cool sculpting on the bottom. On the sides of this, looks great. Definitely looks like an upward kind of like motion that he went with the board, kind of raising up. And it just looks great. It's translucent, got that same color purple. It stands just fine. And the top here can actually rotate as well, as you can see. It can rotate, and you can even shift it just a little bit. Not too much, but a little bit. And I believe there is a joint there. So you can actually tilt it up. Yeah, there we go. So you can see that. You can tilt it up a little bit, or you can tilt it down. Just be very careful with this, because it's not that it feels flimsy. It's just that I feel like it can break if you move it the wrong way. So just pay close attention to these guys here. And again, I'm speaking like these are going to be available on the shelf and all that. I mean, these are only for the people that manage to get their hands on Galactus, you know. But if you're ever thinking of actually purchasing Galactus from somebody else, just be mindful of those things. Last but not least, he does come with 3 sets of hands. And we have our first hands here, which are going to be his opening hands here. These open hands always look really good. I mean, check out the sculpt on those guys and the palms there. That looks great. Here is the top, and that looks great. You can make out knuckles. That looks awesome. So very cool for blasting effects, which we didn't get any, but very cool for, like, you know, those classic surfing stances. And what should always be basically standard issue, we have fisted hands as well. And again, these look really good. You can see the sculpt in there on the top of the knuckles. That looks awesome. Looks great. Definitely a must-have for any fight scene that you're trying to recreate. And last but not least, we have these kind of karate chopping hands. These guys here will be cool for poses, you know, like he's kind of sliding through something. Classic Y poses and surfing poses, but these guys will definitely look good in the right particular pose.
Okay, so how to put the board on the stand? It's really simple. All you gotta do is just get your thumb and basically just push it in there and slide it in. Just like that.
Now it's going to feel a little rough going in there, and don't be afraid that it's going to scratch your board because it's plastic rubbing on plastic, so you should be all right. In fact, we placed it in and we took it out and we saw no physical damage to the board itself. So it does hold the board very snug, and as you can see, we don't even have it in all the way. So you can choose to have it in all the way, or, you know, have it closer to the edge, but that's completely up to you depending on what kind of pose that you want to pose the character and the board in. Alright, so with the accessories out of the way, let's go ahead and take a closer look at some of the details on the figure itself. Alright, so let's go ahead and take a closer look at some of the details on the figure itself. So right away, let's start with the head here. And right away, he's got that classic, very stern-looking Silver Surfer look. I mean, that head sculpt looks great. We can see definitely all this muscle that's sculpted into the face right here on the side and the cheeks. He's got those pointy cheekbones there. That looks great. We can see the lips there. Definitely sculpted very nicely there. The nose looks great. The eyes look cool. There's not any pupils there, but it definitely looks like Silver Surfer. He's got this stern kind of like look to his forehead there. That looks awesome. He's got that classic superhero chin that came out looking great. That jawline looks amazing. We can definitely see some muscle here that's sculpted in subtly there. That looks great. Yeah, very good job on this head sculpt. Again, there's not a lot of detail on it, but it just looks good. And this metallic sheen came out looking really nice. Down to the neck here, we can see more of those neck muscles. That looks great. We got the shoulders here. We got the pecs sculpted in, looking great. We got that muscle definition. That looks awesome. Down here to the abs, he's got that 4-pack. That looks great. Definitely looks good here on the stomach area. We got that metallic sheen throughout the figure. We got some more muscle over here. Over to the arms here on the shoulders, looks good. And again, they put in a lot of that muscle detail there, which looks great. Unfortunately, not pinless. You can definitely see the pins. That's a disappointment, especially the price tag on Galactus, and they're not going to give us the extra characters with no pins.
And the new sculpt that they're making.
Yeah. So basically moving on down here to the forearm. The forearm looks good. There's the hands again. Nothing crazy about the forearms except for all this muscle that they put in there for the sculpt. That looks great. Let's go down to the thigh area here. Again, more muscle. That looks great. Sculpted very nicely. Here are the knees. Down to the shin area here. Calves look great. Nice muscle tone there. Down to the feet. Definitely got that classic comic book looking feet, you know, that they look like shoes or boots. That looks good. Great paint throughout the whole figure. And here is the other side of the arm, basically the same exact thing, nothing different. Here is the back. Definitely pretty nice how we got all this muscle tone back here on these butterfly joints. Got this little added detail right here that looks great. We do have a peg hole, but don't really see the point of having a peg hole on him. I mean, if they had a peg on the board itself that could fit on his back, I think that would have been pretty cool, but I don't think we got that. In fact, I know we don't have that. Moving on down here, looks pretty good right here. There's a Silver Surfer butt. That looks good. We got here the back of the thighs looking pretty good. And yeah, overall, pretty neat. Bottom of the feet, we have absolutely no treads. All right, so with that out of the way, let's go ahead and move into articulation. All right, so starting with the head, he can turn left, he can turn right, and he can go completely around exorcist style here. He can tilt his head left a little bit and right a little bit. And moving over to the arms, he can move his arms up about that much, and the arms can rotate a complete 360. And the added bonus about this guy is that he does have these very effective butterfly joints, as you can see. You can move them as far back as this, you can see, and they can go as forward as here, as you can see. So pretty neat. So to actually get him to put his hands together, you can go in about that much when you bring his two butterfly joints together there. Almost doing the kind of a Shaolin kind of style pose there. That looks pretty cool. He also has double jointed elbows that go into about that much. His hands are on a hinge here, and they do hinge forward and they do hinge back. He does have a bicep swivel, as you can see. And same thing goes for this arm here. All right, moving down to the actual chest area here, he does have a ab crunch. He can go forward about that much, and he can ab crunch back about that much. He can swivel on his waist here, as you can see. Pretty good. Can actually go all the way around. Moving further down to his legs here, he can actually do the splits about that far apart, which is actually pretty good. And he can kick forward about that much. He can kick back, not so much, but it's still pretty decent. And again, it's basically that Silver Surfer butt cheek there that's going to be making contact to the back of his thigh here. But that's as far back as you can go, unless you kind of jimmy it around and lift the leg up a little bit, and still, that's about as far back as he goes, right about there. He does have an upper thigh cut, as you can see, and he does have a boot swivel, as you can see. He does have double jointed knees that reach back, not touching his butt, but pretty good, though. It almost reaches there, but that's pretty good still, so. And his feet can kick down. His feet can go down about that much, and they will kick up about that much. And he does have ankle pivot. And that's going to do it for articulation. All right, and now for a comparison with the previous release Silver Surfer. Here on the left, we have the Silver Surfer that came with Galactus. And here on the right, we have the previous release of Silver Surfer. And this one was the Walgreens exclusive that came out, I want to say, about a year or two ago. Maybe 3 years ago. But this guy was only available in Walgreens. They did one more release, which was after this guy, of Silver Surfer, where I believe it was a worthy Silver Surfer.
Yeah, he was like a dark silver with Thor's hammer.
Yeah, he was definitely a darker tone of silver, not as shiny or metallic, but he also came with Thor's hammer, and he did have a pretty cool look to him as well. But now, as comparing both of these guys here side to side, honestly, the only thing that looks different from these guys is going to be the head sculpts.
Yeah, because one more has like just white, and the other one had like black on it also.
Yeah, this one here, it looks cool, but this one looks like, I don't know, it just looks more alive to me. But this gives it to me more of a comic book feel to it, and I want to say it's because of these black tones that they put under the eyes, and I believe he has some black also on the lips there, but I can't really tell. Looks like there's a little bit of black on the lips, but so yeah, these darker tones that they put on here, the little bit of black that they added, that subtle touch, I feel like it definitely makes the figure pop out more, and it gives it more of a classic comic book look to it compared to this face sculpt, you know. But they both look good. In fact, he looks a little younger here than this one on the right here.
Now, one thing that does kind of suck though, it's the body. But it's mostly that they just reused the same one.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like they used the exact same body mold, but I'm not an expert when it comes to these different body molds and parts and, you know, and all that stuff. But just from eyeballing it, it looks like the exact same figure. Oh, here we go. Minus a peg hole in the back. I still don't get why they put a peg hole here. And this one doesn't have the peg hole. So this Walgreens exclusive didn't have the peg hole, but this one does. Kind of weird. So maybe they didn't reuse this body mold here, the chest at least. Yeah, I'll let you guys be the judge of that, but to me, it doesn't look too different. Yeah, so if you were able to get your hands on the Walgreens one, you're good. You don't really need this one here, you know, in case you're trying to buy just Silver Surfer. If you already got this one, you're good with that. The only reason why you would want to get anything from the Galactus that's related to Silver Surfer, it would be for this. That's the only reason why you would want it. But I feel like it's the same board, it's the same Silver Surfer. But yeah, this would be definitely the star of the show if you ask me. Alright, and to measure out this Silver Surfer, he stands at about the 6-inch mark. Maybe a little bit above, maybe about 6.5, but right around that area. And to measure out how tall this stand is, the stand measures out to be just about 3.5 mark. And the length of the board measures to be about just a little bit under 8 inches. Alright, and for size comparisons, here we have the Silver Surfer that came with Galactus on the left, next to the Walgreens exclusive Silver Surfer on the right. Alright, and here we have Silver Surfer next to the Fantastic Four. We have Human Torch, Mr. Fantastic, and The Thing, as well as the Bombastic Bagman. Here we have Silver Surfer next to the Mezco Wolverine. For another comparison, here we have Silver Surfer next to the Black Series Mud-Covered Mandalorian. And for another size comparison, here we have the Silver Surfer next to the DC Multiverse McFarlane Crime Syndicate Superman, aka Ultraman. And last but not least, for another toy line comparison, here we have the Silver Surfer next to the SH Figure Arts Son Goku. Alright, so for final thoughts. So my final thoughts on this guy is he's a great character. Great articulation, great paint applications, even though it's all just one tone. But definitely great sculpting with all those muscle lines and definition. Very, very awesome. I do like the head sculpt, but I do prefer the Walgreens exclusive head sculpt better. As looking at everything all in one here, with all the accessories here, he looks great. Unfortunately, you had to have gotten the Galactus to get this guy and his accessories. That's the huge unfortunate part. I mean, I wish they just sold us this thing here, you know, but they don't. So that's the only way you're going to get your hands on it. Again, check out Can of Beams. He makes his own type of Silver Surfer board stand that is compatible with SH Figure Art stands and other type of stands. So definitely check it out if you want to have your Silver Surfer posed in a flying pose to really show off that board.
Yeah, I agree. I think the paint job and everything about it is cool. Only thing I don't like though, half of it's already reused. The board reused, the body, even the hands itself are reused. Only thing that's I think that can be new is a little like peg on his back and in the face. The only thing I don't like about it though, it has pins, and knowing new line of Marvel Legends that they're doing, where they're making all pinless, it does kind of feel like they're going a little lazy with it. Other than that though, I think the board is pretty cool, and especially the actual stand itself. I like how the colors all match with it. Makes it look like it's really in space. Only thing that I kind of wish they did was add some stars and something like that, just to give it more of that feeling that he's actually like, in space with it. But in terms of like accessories though, it's pretty cool. I like the hands and all that. I just don't like how they went lazy with it and given an accessory that was already out in many different colors. Felt they could have given us something else. Or they could have given us some like holding hands so you could at least hold the board. A beam or just like a different head sculpt of him like screaming or something like that. Just not that accessory because we've already had it too much, and at this point it's just feel like they're going lazy now.
Alright, it's that time again, folks, for our rating. And as always, you can see that rating there on the left. And I'm going to go ahead and give this guy a rating of...
Alright, I'm gonna give him a rating of
Epic.
And that's going to do it for our review on the Silver Surfer exclusive to the Galactus Haslab. I'm Steel Wolf.
and Spider Kid.
Continue collecting, and remember, stay casual.